everybody. So today we are going to be talking about long woven wraps. I'm really excited to be doing this. I wanted to talk with you just a little bit about the differences and kind of answer some questions for you. I know some of you kind of want to know what's possible with a wrap, why you would use a wrap, who could use a wrap. So I just wanted to chat with you, and then also I can show you a couple things that have come in recently. So thank you. And if you have questions about wraps, leave them in the comments. I am looking. It gets a little bit delayed, right? But I am checking both on Instagram and Facebook for comments. So if you have questions about wraps, definitely let me know. Hi, Amanda, and yeah, so I'm really excited about this. And if you'll let me know in the comments, do you have a wrap? Do you like to wrap? Is it something that you want to learn? Let me know. And I'd love to hear what you have. So I want to just, so I guess first, what is a long woven wrap? That's a good place to start, right? So, oh my goodness. I've got just Hans today. I don't know what happened to Lucy, the smaller doll. She's here. She's here, but she got pushed around with the shipment that came in and with packing for the sale. So what is a long woven wrap? So a long woven wrap is a long piece of fabric. Typically, I mean, there can be variances based on brands and the maker and things like that. But typically, they're about 60 to 70 meters wide. Sometimes you find wider ones for older toddlers. So, hi, Dolores. Sometimes you find wider ones, but that's about how wide they typically are. And then in length, they can go anywhere from about 2 meters, so about 6 feet, to 6 meters plus. That sounds like a lot of fabric. So that sounds like a lot of fabric, right? And so people get really overwhelmed and they don't know what it is. But really, all it is a piece of fabric to wrap around you. So shorter ones are more traditional. So that's something that some people use. It's common sort of you'll see in pictures of traditional cultures where people sort of wrap around baby once and sort of tie off, or like a ring sling with a knot, or like a torso carry. There are some traditional carries in Africa with different types of fabrics that are special to different regions, that are that traditional torso carry. If you've seen that, that's a really, really cool way to carry a baby also. But these are just longer than that, which allows for more variety of carries and also allows you to hold a wiggly baby a little bit more securely than some single layer carries. Although, of course, you can. That's the beauty of it. You can make it work kind of with what you have. And so some people have even done emergency carries with towels, right? So there's a lot of variation there too. So this particular wrap is a size 6. So this is the most common size for a base size. And a base size, all that means is that you can do something we call front wrap cross carry. I knew this was going to happen as soon as I stood up. One looks okay, one doesn't. So front wrap cross carry, just very basically, I'm going to show you that how many times it sort of goes around you, so you can kind of see. So this is a size 6, so this is 4.6 meters, which is about, oh, hi Jessie, which is about, sorry, it's four times 3, right? So it's about like 14 feet long, I guess. So that's what that looks like. And this is probably about my base size right now. Okay. Front wrap cross carry goes around your body. I'm looking in the camera mirror. Once. Okay, then we come up and around. Oop. Okay, so that's like once around you and then back up, right? So it's like almost 2 times around you. And then around the baby again. Right? So you can either spread the passes or not, and we come back around your body. So it's got to be enough to go around your body multiple times to do a carry like this. And I can show you with the baby too. But you know, it's three. You know, we can have 1 layer or 3 layers, but it has to go around your body a couple of times, and so that's why this extra length, it lets you do more stuff. So I had a question about wraps and about how complicated they can look. And so I definitely want to address that, because that's really a big deal to me, actually, is I don't want it to feel super complicated and hard. And I know that there are people who are really artistic, and who are really they just like love working with the fabric, and they love working with the fibers, and they love showing off all the beautiful things that your wrap can do. And you'll see some really fancy carries, and I think that that's wonderful for those who want to do that. But you don't have to do any of that to have a safe carry. And in fact, you can do a very simple torso carry, which is literally just wrapped around your torso, right? And you can even do it in more of a traditional style, and that is still a safe wrap. So if I show you with Hans here, which might not work because I'm trying to be on here too. But if I can show you with him, I'll try to back up a little bit. And this is a size 4 wrap. So I could start it as if I'm going to do a front wrap cross carry. I can kind of get the tightening done. And this is just a quick sort of demonstration here. So this, like I said, this is a size 4. So this is 2 sizes shorter than the other one, which is a great combo. So if I did that, if I put my baby in, my very large baby, this is one of our toddler dolls. I think I might have 1 toddler doll left in stock right now. So the basics are the same no matter what you're doing. You got to make a seat. I guess Hans can be about. You got to make a seat. Okay. Tuck that up. You got to tighten. Okay. Strand by strand. Do the same on the other side. Why tighten strand by strand? Because each one corresponds to a layer here. So when you pull this here, you are tightening here. Okay? So that keeps your baby in safe and secure. Okay? And that's it. So if I wanted to, I could just tie under the butt, and that's done. If I wanted to, I could switch to a torso carry. I could take this under my arm. I could spread the pass or not and wrap it around me. I could even do it one shoulder, so I could leave this here and I could just tie them together. So once you sort of understand the basics of, like, we have to get a seat, so we have to safely position baby, supporting them knee to knee. For an older baby, it doesn't even have to be all the way knee to knee. It can just, so long as it's supporting them. So we've got a nice seat. They're safe in there and it's tightened. It doesn't really matter what you do from there. You know, like that, those are the basics. And of course having babies so that you can monitor their breathing. So this baby might be a little high, right? But it's okay though, like this is safe. What we don't want is we don't want baby's head like in the breast, right? Because that's just too far to really be able to monitor breathing well. And that's most important for like newborns especially, right? You know, we want to make sure that they're up where we can monitor them. Okay, but that's it. And so if you want to kind of see what it looks like if we just did a torso, right? So then I could even just, if I wanted to, like, just tie that there. If I wanted to, like it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be super complicated. It doesn't have to be anything scary. It's a tool. It's a tool. It's a tool that parents have been using for many, many years. And so as you can see too, like this 4 is a great length for something like this with this bigger baby. So that's another reason why I like that length too. Okay, so that's just kind of a little bit of a basic about the woven wrap. And so the other point about that I want to stress, right? It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be something scary. You don't have to learn lots and lots of things. It's kind of just getting, once you get the basics of how to safely make a seat, how to tighten and be comfortable with that, you can really kind of go whatever direction that you want it to go. Double knotting is important, right? Or we can use rings to secure, but that's kind of that. So why should we, right? Though why should we do a woven wrap? And if those of you have used one, you can definitely let me know what you like about them. But what I find most people like about it is they love woven wraps because they are soft. They are, especially wovens like ours, right? Not everyone has a soft, nice, supportive quality woven wrap, right? There's definitely differences, but all of ours are really nice quality. They're soft, they are comfortable, they are moldable to you and baby, right? So it recreates that experience of being in the womb, and we care about that because that helps baby feel secure and safe. And a baby who feels secure and who feels safe doesn't cry as much. They are easily consoled when they do fuss. They are comforted, and you are also comforted as the caregiver. And I love wrapping, and I love carrying babies because of that connection with you and the caregiver. I was just talking with a friend's husband the other day who's really nervous about their new baby, and I told him, I said, look, you just wear that baby, and you are comforting your baby, but your baby will also, like, in turn, like that closeness is comforting to you, and it's healing to you, and it gives you that confidence, and it gives you that supportive feeling. And I know from experience kind of what that can feel like when we have a really rough postpartum, right? And so it's something that's bonding for both of you, you and the little one. So it's just a really nice thing. And a wrap is something so versatile that it's just a really awesome way to start, or even to kind of interject into your journey if you haven't gotten there yet, if you were a little nervous before. And so I see a lot of people get overwhelmed kind of seeing the what I call like the wrap queens, and I love them. I love seeing the beautiful colors. I love seeing the creativity of people who can do these different knots and these different patterns. But ultimately, a lot of us aren't ever really going to go and do tons of fancy stuff. And so I think it's nice to hear sometimes that it's okay if you only want to do a couple simple things. That is still wrapping, and that is still amazing, and you still get all these benefits, and it doesn't have to be something that feels overwhelming, right? You can learn this, and it's not hard. You can do it. Okay, so that's a little bit about that. I got some questions. I get some questions a lot about back wrapping. So I want to talk about that for a second. I don't know if I'm going to be able to successfully demo because Hans is kind of hard to back wrap. Lucy's a little easier, but I can give it a shot, and I'll give it a shot with this 4. So why use this carrier for back wrapping, right? We have there are other carrier options. There are lots of things that we can try. Why should we wrap? And so one of the reasons why wrapping on your back is really great is that you can change the carry, just like you saw me with the front wrap cross carry, and I just kind of maneuvered it, and it was a one shoulder for a minute, and then it was a torso carry, right? You can do that on your back too. You can just do so. If ruck straps are bothering you, you can just make a candy cane chest belt across, or you can spread the passes, which is my preference, right? There's a lot of customization where, so if your arms get tired, if your shoulders get tired, if baby gets fussy or irritable, you can just change the carry and move on, as opposed to if we're in like a soft structured carrier, there's just kind of like one seat, one position, one way to hold, and that works for some people, but for some it's really nice to have that flexibility. Or we can go from being on the back to now we're out somewhere, and I kind of want to keep a little bit more of an eye on where the hands are, maybe, so we put them on our hip for a little bit until they're ready to come down. Or maybe they get sleepy and, they sleep better when they're on the front, and then we just kind of move them to the front. And sometimes you can do that without even undoing the seat. Some people find that they're able to do that. Not everyone, but some just kind of. And how that works basically is, babies on your back, and you start to get them down, and you hold some tension on it, and you sort of bring them around. and then you rewrap. So again, not everybody is that coordinated, but you could do it if you wanted to. You could learn how to do that. So so that's one way. That's kind of like the big reason for wrapping. Like another really big reason is that versatility. We can change it up. We can do things. And especially if you have a couple different lengths to choose from, that just gives you kind of more flexibility. So when you want a longer carry, or when you want more tails, or you want to do some fancy twists, you can have something longer. Or if you like that multiple passes, right? Some of us have little ones who just squirm. And we just really want multiple passes with everything we do, right? That's my son, right? So I really don't get too much use out of shorter wraps sometimes, because he just needs to be pinned in. But it gives you that flexibility. So that's one reason why back wrapping can be really great. Another reason to back wrap is once you get the hang of it, it's really simple. You can customize that fit for you, right? So we can customize it for like if you're tired or whatever, but you can also customize it if you don't want a waist. So like you have a waist bag you want to put on, or if you want a shoulder bag and you want it on the other shoulder. I mean, we can still do lots of like variation options, which is really great. So that's just kind of another bonus of that. And I think it's just kind of easy to have. Like you just kind of know it will do anything that you're feeling up for that day. And I do like it for toddlers who, when you're learning with them, just because you do have the option of sort of putting the different passes, because like in an albohemo, for example, so if you have a wiggly toddler and you're using an albohemo, you've probably experienced where if they don't want to be in there right that second, they are going to and like they're not in the carrier anymore, right? I mean they're not gonna fall out if you have them properly in, but it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel great. And so wraps give you more opportunities to sort of pin them in nicely and keep them comfortable for both of you too. They pack up pretty. I mean, they're not like the tiniest things, but they pack up okay. They're not really that bulky per se. It's just kind of folding them up, and then of course it just depends on how much you care how nicely folded they are. But they're forgiving, right? So that's another thing too. All of our wraps. So that's a size 4. I just did that in like 2 seconds. I mean, it was maybe longer than that, but you know what I mean. It's not that hard to do. We just wrap it up and we can toss it in somewhere. The size 6 takes a little bit longer because it's more fabric. So it's not that bad to keep with you, to carry with you, to do that. It's just kind of once you learn it, you kind of know what to do, and that's okay. Also, they're beautiful and they're unique, and people will come up to you and say, "Oh my gosh, where did you get this beautiful thing that I've never seen before? That I wish that I had when my child was young." Let me know if anyone's ever said that to you. I wish they had carriers when my child was young, and you want to say they did, but it's fine. It's fine. So it's nice to see, and it's nice to be able to spread that. I was gonna say something else about the soft structured. Yeah. I mean, ultimately, the best carrier for you is the one that you love and that you're going to use, right? So that's ultimately the best one. But I think that having options is really nice, and I think the long woven wrap is an option that's worth having for anyone, just because of that versatility is a really big factor, and the longevity. You know that it's going to last. You're not going to have to worry about them outgrowing it. I mean, unless you're carrying, some people are carrying into school age, more so for special needs children, but other children sometimes too. And in those cases, maybe sometimes we'll outgrow a rating for a particular wrap. But it's for most cases, it sort of covers everything, and it can carry the newborn or the toddler, depending what you're doing. You can use a wrap plus another carrier. That's often, if you've got two little ones, that's often a great combo, is sort of using a mix of that. Two wraps or two, a wrap plus something else can often be comfortable. Any other questions for me? I feel like, someone had asked about what carries to start with. I think that's where I was going with this, and then I got off track. So what carries to start with? So we always recommend when you learn to start with that front wrap cross carry. So that was what I demonstrated before. Now this is not my base size, so I can't complete it with this one, but I'll kind of demonstrate again, right? So that was, we've got a pass on the torso, middle marker there, come up over the shoulder, right, up, we cross in the back, up over the other shoulder, child goes in, just like I showed before, and we twist underneath. And so for this one, I could only tie under the bottom, right, because I don't, because it's not the 6, which I have behind me. But you can tie under the bottom. That's just not the front wrap cross carry like official, version, like the main version, but you can do that, right? Or you can, bring up the passes and tie the shoulder. Again, you'd probably start a little off center for that. But that's kind of the general front wrap cross carry. And again, the reason we recommend that is because, and I have a tutorial on that too. So definitely check it out, or leave a comment, and I'll make sure you link it if you need it, the full tutorial. But why do we do that? So because it teaches us how to make that seat, right? It teaches us how to find knee to knee and bring it up between us, right? So it teaches us that, and then as it comes across, it teaches us how to tighten rail by rail. This particular wrap, you can see, has different color gradations from one side to the next, so it makes it easy to sort of see, okay, when I tighten this, it's going to tighten this here, right? Like they're connected, they're the same. And so that sort of visualization can help us, right? And it's also a good one just to sort of get a feel for different options, because there are a lot of options even with that one, including the pond finish, which I did a tutorial with, which is so easy, but it makes you look really fancy. So that's a nice one where you just sort of end with a twist on the side. Then there's, but there's all kinds of things you can do to modify in just that one, including just one pass over baby or 3. One pass is great for newborns. 3 might be better for your toddler, right? So just a nice mix. So that's where we always recommend starting. You can get a hang of where baby should be positioned, how to position them properly, what their body position looks like, how they feel like in the wrap, what it feels like to tighten properly. If we're going to then start with a back carry, once we've gotten that one down, a popular one to start with is the ruck. Now, I will tell you that I do not like ruck straps. My shoulders are uneven, and ruck straps are very uncomfortable for me. So you don't typically see me in photos or demonstrations doing a ruck finish, even though I know that that's very comfortable for a lot of people. But that's why you don't see me do a lot of them. But I can do sort of a quick show of kind of what that looks like. And the size 4 is also a good one for that. Okay, so basically what I'm doing here is I'm positioning the wrap where I want it to be on deer Hans. I'm actually going to put it there. I'm going to pin so you can see. My arms are crossed. I move my body to the wrap, okay? I pin the carrier, and I'm not going to do a great demonstration here because I'm trying to do too many things. But you pin the carrier with your chin or your teeth is usually recommended. I'm going to find this to make the seat. Again, I'm not doing a great job of it in this. And that's the idea, okay? So that's the basics, like basic ruck, okay? I'm going to pin it. I'm going to tighten. I'm not going to over tighten the bottom. Just a little tightening. We can always fix things later, okay? over, under, boom. Come up here, tighten, 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 over, under, boom. Okay? And then you tie in the front. Is that perfect? No, I'm not going to say it's perfect, but it is going to hold him up. Okay, and so it's not that hard. It's not that hard. You can learn how to do this. Okay, you can learn how to do this. So this is the size 4. Okay, so you can see that's my base -2. So that's kind of what that looks like. That's why I like to recommend a base -2, because that's nice for learning this kind of carry. Okay. And then other ones are back wrap cross carry. So that was my preferred for learning, because it's got more crosses. And I like with a little bit of a longer wrap so that I can do across the chest, right? So I end everything ruck with something spread across the chest. So that's sort of an example there. But that's what I recommend starting with. Start with the ruck. If the ruck is not working for you, like it wasn't working for me when I started, try the back wrap cross carry. Once you've got front wrap cross carry down, the back wrap cross carry, it's very similar, right? It's just on your back, right? So it's something good to practice with. Yeah. Trying to think what other questions were submitted. If you have one, definitely let me know. And definitely let me know if you've tried these, what your favorite is. A little bit about the fabric. So I do have a video on fabric type. If you want to check that out, I can link that to you as well. But basically, this fabric here, this is a 100% cotton, and this is, I think, 280 GSM, and this feels thicker to me than some other ones that I have that are the same weight. And so that's sort of the difference that you're going to have. But in this case, you can see this is a jacquard weave. You can see the intricacies in the weave. You can see all the different colors. There's a little bit of texture to the turtle there. There's just a lot kind of going on. And so that's what the jacquard weaves look like, right? That's sort of the level of detail that they are and that they have. And so this is heavier, and it's got more of that weave. This is something that's not on the store yet. This is a hemp blend. And I really like the texture of this. I like how thin this feels. So if anybody has accepted my hint. Okay, and then I want to show you what a sort of basic line fabric looks like. Got a lot of blues around me at the moment. But just kind of to compare, like a basic line fabric, it's much thinner. Ooh, Dolores, do you have suggestions for tandem carrying twins? I do. So my biggest suggestion, so first, congratulations, because that's really exciting. My husband is a twin, so I always think that's super exciting to hear someone's having twins. So tandem carrying twins, I recommend not doing front wrap cross carry. Because front wrap cross carry is actually really hard with 2 babies, like really hard. So what I actually recommend for you is something, there's, I think it's called Amanda's hip carry, tandem hip carry. And there's also, I think, Jasmine's, I think is the name of the other one. I think that's it. Tandem carry. Both of those, I think, say they're hip carries, but for a newborn baby, you would move them to the front. If your twins are older, you can move them out to your hips comfortably, but for a newborn, you can tie it to the front. And what's great about that is that you are doing one baby at a time. You're tightening one at a time. So one and then the other. And then it comes together. I do recommend getting rings to play with those carries. The extra large rings are the right size for those carries, because of all the fabric that goes through, but that makes it even easier, so that if one baby needs to come out, let's say one baby needs, something, right, you know, it needs to be changed, it needs whatever, you can use the rings to help you a little bit to make it a little simpler to loosen, let baby out, do what you need, and then you can retighten them back in without affecting the other baby. So that's what I recommend. I'll have to do a video just on that, because that's definitely something I hear a lot. Um, yeah, when they're older too, you can also use two carriers. So you can tandem that. So that's sort of, sorry, so that's sort of in one wrap, which tends to be what people want when they're smaller. But if they're a little bit bigger, you can play around with different things too. So like you can do just one wrap. Ooh, cool. Yes, it's really cool. It like you really feel like a superhero when you're in something like that. Go look it up, like Jasmine's hip carry, Amanda's hip carry. I can link you to some tutorials. But it's really cool. You're like, yeah, that's a super mom right there. Super parent. Um, um, but yeah, so but as they're older, if you're carrying two babies, you can do that too. Adrian, there's a blog of a mama totally dedicated to tandem carrying twins. Can't remember it off the top of my head. I think I know what you're talking about. If I find it, I'll definitely link it. If you find it too, feel free to post it on the page or in the group, so that other people see it. Thank you. Yes, please, thank you. Yeah, I'll definitely send that to you, Dolores, for sure. Yeah. So, but yeah, older babies, if you're carrying two, you can always do, I kind of like a shorter wrap plus something else. So either plus a ring sling or plus a backpack carrier, kind of just depending on the dynamic between the children and kind of what you want to do. You can also do two wraps. And the sizing for that, there's a lot of factors, but if anybody wants to chat about that more with their situation, we definitely can. Okay, so I wanted to show you the basic line. So this is the basic line. It's the same front and back. It's much thinner. It's very light, for sure. Both are breathable because they're both cotton blends. They're just kind of less, it's just kind of less complex. It's just kind of less to the fabric. But these do have different colored rails. Not all of the jacquards do. Some of them do have different colored rails, but not all of them. So that's kind of the difference there. Any other questions? Anything else you want to see? Any colors you want to see? I've got just like stacks of things back here. This is one I just pulled out, Provence. This is a fan favorite. I'll show you what this one looks like. And like if I panned around, you'd probably gasp at how much stuff is back here. Oh my gosh. I had to take a picture for you guys one time just as like how much I have here in stock. Everything is here. Like, I'm not just like talking to you from somewhere else. Like everything is here. Behind me is where my husband and I pack packages. Like it's all here. And like I've got like a warehouse back here of stuff for you. So it all ships here for you. So that's why, yeah, I can pull out pretty much anything. So if you ever want to see it, just ask, and I'll get it out for you. Okay. Well, I hope that was helpful. I hope that you learned a little bit about wraps so that you feel comfortable. I want you to know that like you don't have to be, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to do fancy things. Once you get the hang of it, you might want to try fancy things, and that's awesome. And I love that. I totally support that. But wrapping doesn't have to be scary. It's not. It's just a piece of fabric, and you're raising a small being, and you could totally master this piece of fabric. You don't need any special skills. And what's really nice is that if you do have any physical limitations, you can absolutely learn to use this to work around them. And that's probably one of my favorite parts about this, is that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you have a bad shoulder, you just don't wrap with it. You just don't do any carries that require you to go over your head. You can do, like, there's so many different ways to do things that makes it really, really flexible. That's one of the reasons. It's one of the things that we've used for centuries, for millennia. I don't know. We've been carrying babies because we had to, right? So that's why a long piece of cloth is sort of the default traditional carrier in a lot of cultures. Of course, there's cradle boards too and things. That's definitely a different type of carrying. Maybe the predecessor to soft structured carriers in in this country, in other places too. Different purposes though, different things. So, okay, well, thank you all so much. If you have more questions, if you want links to anything, definitely leave them in the comments. We will go through them and respond, and have a great day. Thank you.